Hi, my lovely friends. If you've seen my previous videos, then you know that I have been trying the whole Word transcript service using my handy dandy little voice recorder and then clicking this into my computer or attaching this to my computer and uploading the files through Word that offers a transcription service at the moment for free, unlimited minutes for free as part of your Microsoft subscription service. And as I've been using it now for about a week, I thought I'd just pop on really quickly and just give you the couple of pros and cons that I've found as I'm working with this. So let's just get started. Pro number one, it is really fast. If I've got one of those random ideas for a story scene in the middle of the night, and I record it onto here, and then the next morning I plug it into my computer, and it will come up as it's uploading the audio. It'll come up and it'll say, this can take some time, just leave the page open and go away and do something else. But I have found in my experience that if I've talked for actually up to about 20 minutes, it takes less than 2 or 3 minutes for Word to actually transcribe everything I've said. So it's fast. That's a positive. The second thing is, by using something like a voice recorder, or you could use your phone or whatever. It's not as though you need a dedicated voice recorder. What you need is something that will access your computer or your laptop. And for some people that can be their phone, because you can use like a phone link service, and I think Apple has something similar as well. But regardless, so long as whatever it is you're recording on has got some way of attaching to your computer where your main book files are, then you're golden. It means I don't lose my ideas. It means I don't have to suddenly, stop what I'm doing halfway through and go and write the ideas down, because believe me, and you'll find this too, especially if you're an experienced writer, if you've got an idea in the middle of the night or while you're in the shower or something equally blooming annoying, if you lose that idea, even if you try and recreate it later on, even if it's an hour later, it's never as good as when it first comes into your head fully formed. So doing something like this and being able to use the transcription service is, to me, it's a game changer for that reason alone. And the other fact is, the other thing that I really like about it is that it's about 85% accurate in its transcription, even for somebody like myself who has got an unusual accent. I'm British born. I've lived in New Zealand for decades. So I haven't, I don't have an American accent or European or UK or anything else like that. I've got a rather weird little twang to my voice, and yet the Word transcription seems to deal with it fine. It is on average. My biggest problem is names, but then that could have a lot to do with the names that I choose. For example, one of my characters that I'm writing about at the moment is called Dixon, and I spell it Dixon. And I notice every now and again in transcription, it comes up Dickson. And it's the same with Farron. Sometimes it does it Faron, which is how I spell it. And other times it might have 2 R's. It might be Farran. And every now and again it's been Farand. But that's got to do with how I talk. And that's why I say it's about 85% accurate. It is only really names that it's been getting wrong, or if I've mid-waffled halfway through my dictation, in which case it doesn't correct my mistakes for me. Isn't that weird? And that is a joke. I'm just teasing. It does replicate what I say. But that said, having used this now for about a week, there are some cons to the system too. Firstly, when it comes up, and I think you'll have seen that in the video that I did when I showed the transcription, When it gets added to your document, you can add it just as text. You don't need to have the speakers or the timestamps in it. You can just add the text to your document. But when it arrives in there, it is one slab of text. I think I mentioned in that video something along the lines of a textual vomit or something. It's just one mass. So I mean, obviously you have to go in and edit. You have to go in and put in your line breaks. Now, you know, admittedly, when you're doing dictation, word dictation, you can always say that. You can say, you know, new line, new paragraph or whatever as you're dictating your document. But when you're using the transcript service, that doesn't seem to work. Well, I haven't been able to get it work. And if anybody has, can they please drop some comments below on how they managed to work that out? Because I haven't been able to do that. And again, things like, although transcript does put in things like commas and full stops where it thinks they need to go. Again, it doesn't do things like speech marks or that. Even in my transcription I've said, or Dixon said, or Farron said, or whatever else, it doesn't add speech marks automatically. So obviously you have to go through and edit that. And the third thing that I found that's not annoying, and I actually didn't notice it originally, but for some of us who write books intended for adults, occasionally this cursing and what have you goes on. I had a situation where one of my characters had to contend with the death of his sister, and there was some obviously foul language involved. And I hadn't thought about it. You know, I dictated the night before, and then I'd gone in and I'd put it in transcript. And I think I was actually telling my daughter about it. And I said to her, I said, oh, look, they've got these stars in here. Maybe I didn't speak clearly enough. And I just assumed that maybe, you know, the transcript had got to a point where it couldn't understand what I'd said. But when I listened to the playback to see what mistake I'd made so I wouldn't do it again, it turns out, no, that was where I'd put in the foul language and Word was censoring me, which does leave me to think that should you ever want to write spicier scenes or things like that, I'm not sure that Word's going to be able to handle it in the way I normally write them. But if anybody's had any experience with that, I'd be really keen on knowing. I must try. I think it would probably work with dictate. I think you could probably do spicy scenes with dictate. I'm not sure though, because I haven't gotten to that point in either of my books yet. But yeah, if anybody's had any experience with that, I'd really like to know. So that's my 3 pros, 3 cons for transcript with Word. At the moment, I'm really loving it. You know, obviously you do have to speak clearly. You do have to edit afterwards because you are just getting the text all in one big chunk. It doesn't seem to like swearing, and I'm not sure that I agree that any program should censor me, but then, you know, it's life. It's the way it goes. It's just one of those things that you just have to accept. And as I say, when it comes to spice, I'm going to be quite interested to see whether or not it can handle that at all, or whether I have to go back to tippy tapping for that. But overall, even though it's an adjustment and it's definitely different, you know, after I've written more than 100 titles and I have typed every one, this is a major adjustment, but personally, I think it's worth it. The only caveat I would have is that I notice that it is taking note of how many minutes I'm using for transcription every day. And I am wondering whether or not that's something that they're going to charge for at a later stage. But at the moment of recording this video, it is free to use. It is easy to use. Well, free to use as part of your already Microsoft subscription. It's easy to use. And if you write cozy and sweet, as opposed to slightly spicier stories, then you definitely won't have any problems with the word censor either. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If this content was useful to you, please hit the like and subscribe button. I can't believe I just did that, but there you go. Hug the ones you love, my friends. Keep writing, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.